Assalamualaikum and a very good day I wish to all of you. Welcome to our forum for today. Firstly, thank you very much for attending this forum. For your information, our topic for today is to introduce to our community about our cultural heritage such as Dikir Barat. Before we go too far, I think I need to introduce myself and all of our panel. My name is Muhammad Azman Hazim bin Muhammad Afandi as a moderator for today. And I also will introduce the cultural heritage that we are choose. For example, we choose Dikir Barat. Our first panelist is Ahmad Faizal Izanif bin Razi. Our second panel is Wan No Amirah binti Wan Muhammad. Hi Miss Amirah. And our last panel is Nurul Hazrina binti Ali. Firstly, I want to explain about the origins of Dikir Barat and the history of Dikir Barat. Dikir Barat is believed to have originated from Malay village in southern Thailand. The word Barat means west in Malay. Some research argue that Barat refers to Thailand, which is situated the west of Kelantan, Malaysia, where the term Dikir Barat originated. In Thailand, this musical genre is known as Dikir Karut to emphasize the presence of the Tukang Karut, song initiator. The word Dikir Barat is believed to have been derived from zikir, a form of religious singing and chanting. Dikir Barat, however, is considered a form of secular entertainment. From southern Thailand, Dikir Barat was said to have then spread to Kelantan, where it became localized. This came in various ways such as the incorporation of pantun, poetry, and the Kelantanese dialect into the musical art form from Kelantan. Dikir Barat spread to other parts of Malaysia and Singapore. Furthermore, in Dikir Barat group, there are many elements to create the best group of Dikir Barat, such as Dikir Barat group typically comprise four main elements. The Tok Juara, leader, Tukang Karut as song initiator, a chorus of about 10 to 15 performers known as the Awo Awo, and a percussion ensemble. The Tok Juara sets the theme of the performance and keeps the group together during the performance. Teams usually span a wide range of contemporary and social topics that include love, marriage, and life in the village or city. The Tukang Karut initiates response and challenges competing groups. This is important as Dikir Barat is very much a battle of wits, while competing teams have to weave a continuous stream of impromptu rhythmic verse to ridicule and deride their opponent. The Tukang Karut has to quick wit and think on his feet as he has to spontaneously compose four lines poem known as pantun according to the theme introduced by the top juara or to reboot his competitor. The awak-awak provide excitement through body movement, hand clapping and singing to reinforce praise sung by the Tok Juara and Tukang Karut. The percussion ensemble that supports a Dikir Barat group varies in size. A typical ensemble consists of two rebana and half drum of different size, a pair of maracas and several gongs. Now we move to our next panel, Mr. Faiza. Can you explain why do you think that this cultural heritage is still important or relevant to the younger generation?
Okay, thank you to our moderator Muhammad Azim. I want to talk about the content that state. Why do you think that this culture heritage is still important or relevant to the younger generation? I think that the cultural heritage of Dikir Barat is very important and relevant to younger generation. I see this because culture is a symbol for a society. It is no strange to Malaysia that there are many culture that exist in this country. Among them is Dikir Barat. Dikir Barat, which has been recognized by the UNESCO. Therefore, teenagers need to take care of this culture. That's not all. My second opinion to support why culture is important to teenager because culture is the image of a country that need to be taken care of by every community. Culture is also the identity of our country society. Among them, the Malay community value culture very much. This is also recognized by UNESCO, which state that the Melayu community is a culture society. This is also said by the famous research who that the that culture is Melayu and Melayu is culture. This proves that culture is no longer foreign to the society of our country. Therefore, I state that this culture is still important and relevant for teenagers. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Faizal, about the explanation. I think that really good information to everyone. Okay, we will moving on to our second panelist, Miss Amira. Miss Amira, can you give your opinion? How can we cultivate the interest of the younger generation to preserve this cultural heritage? And what are the measures that can be taken?
Thank you to the moderator. Hello and assalamu alaikum. My name is Wanu Amirawan Muhammad. I'm the second panel. Today's topic is how we can promote Ikebara among the new generation. I will I will tell you guys about how can we cultivate the interest of the younger generation to pursue cultural Ikebara and what are the measures that can be taken to preserve Ikebara. Firstly, how to cultivate the interest of the younger generation. Children to traditional games such as Dikebara. For example, registering children to Dikebara teams or bringing them to see the Dikebara performance. Therefore, children will be able to recognize what Dikebara is. Secondly, how to cultivate the interest of the younger generation is by organizing the Kibara performance. This is said to be so because young people today are very interested in attending a various performance gathering. For example, people gathering without any pressure, performance gathering without any pressure. The young people will be interested in identify Dikebara in more depth. Next is the measure that can be taken to preserve the Dikebara is increase opportunities through the social media. This is said to so because the social media is a place that young people always see. For example, television station broadcast Dikebara performance. Therefore, today's young people who frequently watch television will identify Dikebara. Finally, what is the measure that can be taken to preserve Dikir Barat is the learning at school. This is said so because the school also needs to provide learning about the Dikir Barat. For example, giving student assignment about the Dikir Barat they recognize the origin of the Dikir Barat. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for the information, Miss Amira. I hope the viewers can take note about this important information. Now, I want to ask Miss Rina. Miss Rina, what are the impact of this cultural heritage to the economy and the tourism sector in our country?
Thank you to the moderator. I would like to answer your question. First of all, for the tourism sector, we as Malaysian should be proud of the work from our own country. The art of Dikir Barat needs to be maintained by presenting it to public, which especially for the foreign tourists. For example, in Kelantan, which is famous for Dikir Barat, it's allow them to do any large scale theatre that is open for all. The uniqueness of this Dikir Barat not only attract the interest of Malaysian but also tourists from um, foreign countries will also be interested. So through the increase of foreign tourists to our country, will be able to improve the country economic profit. It is clear that with the existence of this DK Barat, it can help the country economically while maintaining the diversity of country's traditional art. So this performance of DK Barat is not necessarily performed only in Kelantan, and it's also not only open to the people that live in Kelantan, but resident of other state can also learn how to perform DK Barat. This is to preserve the true identity of DK Barat to the public. For example, um, traditional art performance that can present DK Barat, Kuda Kepak and various type of traditional dance can be held on a large scale that can take place in maybe Istana Budaya or any else that can invite the public, especially tourists, to invite the tourists. This method not only attract the attention of many people, but also can have a positive effect on the national economy and increase the number of tourists from abroad. That's all.
Alright, thank you, Miss Rina. That was a great explanation. Now, I want to state two reasons why the younger generation need to practice this cultural heritage such as Dikir Barat. Firstly, Dikir Barat is a traditional singing art that is very difficult to find nowadays. So I think the future generation need to practice this art of singing to make sure this cultural heritage never disappear in our community. Second, why the younger generation need to practice this cultural heritage is because Dikir Barat is unique than modern music. This is because Dikir Barat using a Kelantan dialect in their music. Not everyone can understand the meaning of the song. So I think the future generation need to practice this Dikir Barat to make sure this Dikir Barat will always in our community heart. Now, for the last question, I want to ask Miss Rina, can you make a conclusion of our discussion for today?
I can conclude that our cultural heritage must be maintained to ensure that it's not forgotten. The existence of this cultural heritage is show the uniqueness of our country. As a country with diversity of races and tradition custom, we are also aware that there are various ways that can be done to ensure that the younger generation is attracted to cultural heritage such as the Barat. By attracting the interest of the younger generation, we can preserve this cultural heritage while also being able to introduce it to public. Modern technology at this time can also be used so that the cultural heritage of our country can be introduced to the whole world to attract the attention of tourists from outside and show the uniqueness of our country.
That is a great explanation, Miss Nina. I hope this forum can attract viewers to make sure Dikir Barat will always in our community. Well, I think that's all from us for today. Thank you for lending your ears in our discussion. Now we all know all about Dikir Barat. Thank you.